I just installed a new condensing unit at my home, and I'm gonna have to add a little bit of charge to get it up to spec. This is an R32 unit. It has a TXV, so we will be charging by subcooling. Our target subcooling, according to Goodman, is 8 degrees. Now before we charge, we need to make sure that our airflow is set. I've already done static pressure readings to make sure that it's within manufacturer specs, and I already set the control board for 2.5 ton, which that's what this is, and that's what the coil is. So we're moving the right amount of air across the coil. Filter's clean, all registers are open, and we're ready to charge. Today I'm gonna be charging with the Fieldpiece probes. And the reason I'm charging with these is it's very convenient. It's how I charge most systems, whether they're 410A, R22, new 22, 438, 407. I use these because in the app, the phone app, it does a lot of the calculations for you. I have this adapter right here, about 10 bucks off Amazon. I know there's better ones out there, but I've had this for 2 years and it's just starting to show signs of wear. I know Appian makes a great adapter. I might try that out someday, but this has been working very well for me. Remove the caps from the valve core ports. Going to install my charging adapter for the Fieldpiece probe. Going to turn on my probes. Now just a heads up, this one is 2 years old. They're both 2 years old. And the seal on this is starting to finally wear. So I'm getting a little bit of spray back. I need to replace it very soon. Didn't get any there. And just a heads up, the system has been running for quite a long time, for about 20 minutes now. Now to find our subcooling, we've got to take the line temperature. This one's set for the liquid, this one's set for suction. This copper is brand new, so it's clean. If it were old, I would go ahead and sand down on it. And yes, I did buy a cheap line set. That's why the line set cover does not fit. Next, I'm going to grab my blue hose from the suction side of my analog gauges, and I'm going to hook it up to the top of this port. And right before we charge, I can go ahead and show you the readings that I'm getting right now. And as you can see, our subcooling is a little bit low. We need to slightly bump that up in small spurts until we reach 8. With the R32, you can't just hook up your refrigerant hose to the threads. You're gonna need a charging adapter. I'll leave a link in the description on where you can get this. They're very cheap and they're not really hard to get. It's a reverse thread. Now we can hook up our hose. And before I open anything up, I want to make sure that these valves are shut all the way, and that's tight. And we'll bleed the air out of this hose and this hose before we charge. I'm going to go ahead and crack open my refrigerant tank valve to the open position, and then I'm going to flip it upside down onto the scale. And the reason we use a refrigerant scale is so we know how much refrigerant we're putting into the system. I'm going to slightly twist this hose loose to bleed out any air that may be trapped inside of this refrigerant hose. I'm going to do the same with the suction hose. Next, I'm going to zero out the scale. 0. Now we're going to charge by opening up our suction valve, and we're just going to add quick spurts for a couple of seconds each time. 1, 2, and then close down, and then give it a second to adjust. Now, my line set is only about 20 feet, so it shouldn't take too long to adjust. If you're in a high-rise or working on something on like the 5th or 6th floor, it's gonna take a lot more time to adjust. And as we can see, just by that quick spurt, our subcooling already jumped up to 6.5. I'm gonna give this about 30-45 seconds to calm down, and I'll add more if needed. And looking down at my scale, I only added 4 ounces in that quick spurt. So the next spurt might be a second or two faster, because I really want to dial this in and I don't want to overshoot it. Once that subcooling starts stacking up, it's very easy for it to get out of control. And I may wait even a little bit longer. We're at 7.2 subcooling right now. I'm gonna give that another minute just to cycle all the way through, because I don't want to overcharge this. That may have been all it needed. Okay, it's been a couple minutes. I have not added anything else because I kept seeing it rise. It's finally stabilized at 8.1. We're right on 8.0, and it can be plus or minus 1. So our subcooling is dialed in. Now we can just remove our fittings. And these are all low loss, so we won't lose anything that we just put in. Always put the caps back on when you're done charging. And never over tighten them. Always make sure the O-ring is still intact inside the cap. That's how I charge units. Subcooling for TXVs. Calculate your target superheat for pistons. Always charge by what the manufacturer recommends. Say, Goodman, a lot of times they recommend 8 degrees subcooling. Carrier may recommend 15 degrees subcooling. Listen to the manufacturer, not your boss. Just kidding, listen to your boss. I don't want anyone getting fired, but just trying to tell you the right way. I'll link another video on how to do this with analog gauges so that you can convert your pressure to saturated temperature, and you can do the calculations from line temp to get your subcooling and superheat. The only other better way to charge is by weighing in the refrigerant and doing line set calculations. But even then, I still like to dial in the subcooling if I know that the ductwork's good and the airflow's good. Thanks for watching this short tutorial, HVAC for beginners. My name's Dave. See you on the next one.